the key points for implementing the 1-4-3-3 formation. The 4-3-3 formation has been in vogue for some time now. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, Xavi Hernandez's Barcelona, and Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool are among the high-profile exponents of the 4-3-3 shape. Other highly successful modern coaches, including Carlo Ancelotti, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, and Luis Enrique, have also used a 4-3-3 at different times in their careers. As well as being conducive to an offensive approach, the 4-3-3 also lends itself well to defensive adaptation. The shape allows for space to be covered efficiently, support to be provided defensively, and a press exerted across the pitch. For a 4-3-3 to be executed effectively, players in the midfield and attacking lines need to possess particular attributes. The three midfield players must offer passing lanes in the first two-thirds of the pitch, behind the opposition press, as well as making diagonal runs. In the 4-3-3, the midfielders tend to play in the congested central channel. As a result, they must have excellent technique on the ball. The attacking line typically consists of players with the profile of 3 forwards, or 2 wingers and a striker. Regardless of the combination, all 3 players must be clearly offensive. If these positions are played by midfielders or number 8s, the 4-3-3 will carry less attacking threat. The 3 attacking players have 2 key functions. In possession, they must provide width to receive in the final third, giving options outside and looking to make runs inside. Out of possession, as the first line of defense, they must press aggressively against the build-up. If they don't, the opposition can potentially advance with ease. When building from the back in a 4-3-3, the goalkeeper and defenders must be patient to draw the press and filter passes to the midfielders. Having these 3 midfielders at different heights is advantageous to finding space and progressing the ball. With the pivot closer to the defensive line as an axis of the play, they must look to draw the opposition press. Sergio Busquets at Barcelona was a fantastic example of this. His movements in front of the centre-backs generated space for both the full-backs and inside players, such as Gavi, Frank Kessie or Sergi Roberto. If the pivot is marked, the 2 number 8s must find space to receive in a position where they can progress the ball. Should the opposition press also reach the number 8s, the height of the fullbacks can be key to generating overloads and free players. Once in the opposition half, the width of the wingers forces the opposition to commit players to close them down. This can create space in the final third, which can be exploited to create chances on goal. The 4-3-3 is a system that thrives on wide play. To achieve this, a high level of coordination is required between the fullbacks and the wingers. It is a partnership that can work in 2 ways. One is to play a winger on the side that corresponds with their dominant foot, left-footed on the left wing, right-footed on the right side. This tends to provoke more 1v1s and forces a more conservative opposition fullback deeper. That means less risk after a turnover in that area, with fullbacks typically less pivotal to building attacks than advanced teammates. It also increases the chances of having numbers behind the ball on a defensive transition. The second option is to have an inverted winger who is more inclined to cut inside. This leaves space on the outside to be exploited by a fullback and create a possible 2v1. On defensive transition, however, there is less protection when losing possession. As such, the midfielders must be ready to prevent quick progression on transition. The 4-3-3 lends itself to rapid counter-attacking, for which the positioning of the forwards is key. Often they will be in a 3v4 underload, or a 3v3, so they must quickly find the space in an attacking transition. As such, teammates should look for balls in behind the opposition defense for the forwards to run into space. Vinicius Jr.'s pace in launching Real Madrid's counterattacks, when Carlo Ancelotti has used a 4-3-3, is a good example of speed on transition. The Brazilian winger relishes finding space behind, while his teammate Rodrigo also has a good understanding of these vertical movements in the moments after possession is won. The 4-3-3 is a system, with its 3 attacking players, in which the first line of the press can be vulnerable. The 3 midfielders must therefore be switched on and adept at shuffling across the width of the pitch, for those moments when the first press is bypassed. This requires good endurance levels, as well as positional awareness. The 3 midfielders must also be prepared to support the fullbacks, covering behind when they are defending wide areas where crosses can be delivered. This prevents the centre-backs from having to come out of the box. The midfielders must have good reading of the play, to understand when to drop to help the fullback. Together, these side-to-side movements and the support of the fullbacks demand a high level of coordination between the midfielders. The midfield line plays an important role in the defensive transition. Whenever possible, they should be positioned close to the ball to prevent an opposing counter-attack.